R3.3 Pressure. Pressure is the amount of force applied to a certain area. The main units for pressure are newtons per centimetre squared and newtons per metre squared. These units can usually be found somewhere in the question. If we know the units for pressure, then we can use this to help us remember the formula. Newtons is a unit for force. Centimetre squared or metre squared is a unit for area. And per means divide. So the formula for pressure is force divided by area. I can rearrange this formula to find other formulae. For example, if I multiply by area, then I have got force is equal to pressure times area. And if I now divide by pressure, I have got area is equal to force divided by pressure. If you prefer, you can use a formula triangle to help you to remember these. Force at the top, pressure and area at the bottom. If the letters are on top of each other, it means divide. If the letters are next to each other, it means multiply. You cover over the thing that you are wanting to calculate. So for example, if I wanted to calculate pressure, I would cover over the P. It leaves me with F on top of A. That means pressure is force divided by area. If I wanted to calculate the force, I would cover the F. That leaves me with P next to A. That means that force is pressure multiplied by area. It doesn't matter how you choose to remember these formulae. What is really important though is that when you are applying these formulae to your questions, you make sure the units that you are using are correct. For example, if I wanted to work out the pressure in newtons per metre squared and I had force in newtons but I had area in centimetres squared, then the units are not consistent, they don't match up. So you have to convert first. As force is always in newtons, you don't need to worry about converting those. You may have to convert area though. If I knew an area in metres squared and I wanted it in centimetres squared, then I would simply multiply by 100 squared. That's because there are 100 centimetres in a metre, so there are 100 squared, so 100 times 100 centimetre squares in a metre square. To work backwards then, if I had centimetres squared and I wanted my area in metres squared, I would divide by 100 squared. 100 squared is the same as 10,000. If I had to change my units for pressure, I think that I would prefer to convert the units for area instead, as that is slightly more straightforward to do. So for example, if I had the pressure in newtons per centimetre squared and I wanted the area in metres squared, I would work out the area in centimetres squared and convert that to metres squared, rather than try and convert the pressure units. Let's have a look at question 1 then. For question 1, we need to fill in the gaps. We have got 32 metres squared and we need to write it in centimetres squared. So to get from metres squared to centimetres squared, we are multiplying by 100 squared. So multiplying by 100 and then by 100 again. So we will get 320, not 32, 320,000 centimetres squared. Part B, we need to convert centimetres squared to metres squared, so this time we are dividing by 100 squared, so dividing by 100 then dividing by 100, or dividing by 10,000. So the 45,000 centimetres squared will become 4.5 metres squared. So that's converting our units for area. Question 2. For question 2, we need to calculate the pressure in newtons per centimetre squared that is exerted by a force of 850 newtons on an area of 170 centimetres squared. Looking at the units first then, the numbers that we're going to have to put into our formula are 850 newtons and 170 centimetres squared, and I want the pressure of newtons per centimetre squared out. All my units are consistent, so I'm happy to write down the formula and use it straight away. So pressure is equal to force divided by area. Notice I am not writing out all the words, I'm abbreviating it to the letters. The force is 850 newtons divided by the area, which is 170 centimetres squared. So the pressure exerted by that force on that area is 5 newtons per centimetre squared. Pause the video to copy the notes, to check your understanding and to try the questions from I'm Giving It a Try. Remember to mark your work and reflect on your confidence. Unpause the video when you are ready to try the next question. Question 3. We need to calculate the force when the pressure exerted is 420 newtons per metre squared on an area of 0.05 metres squared. So again, looking at the units, I've got newtons per metre squared and metres squared, they are consistent, and I need to calculate the force, which is just in newtons, so I'm happy with all the units. So I write down force is equal to pressure multiplied by area. The pressure is 420 newtons per metre squared multiplied by 0.05 metres squared. Therefore the force is 21 newtons. Question 4. We need to calculate the area of contact when an object exerts a force of 1,560 newtons, resulting in a pressure of 8 newtons per centimetre squared. So looking at the units, I've got newtons and I've got newtons per centimetre squared, and it's asking for the area. It doesn't ask for the area in a specific unit, so if I use these units, my area will be in centimetres squared. Let's write down our formula. Area is equal to force divided by pressure. The force is 1,560 newtons divided by the pressure, which is 8 newtons per centimetre squared. So my area is 195 centimetres squared. If this question asked for my area to be in metres squared, at this point I would simply divide my answer 195 by 100 squared to get it into metres squared. Pause the video to copy the notes to check your understanding and to try the questions from I'm Building My Confidence. Remember to mark your work and reflect on your confidence. Unpause the video when you are ready to try the next question. Question 5. A box has been placed on a shelf. The area of contact is 900 centimetres squared. The pressure exerted is 50 newtons per metre squared. We need to calculate the force. Looking at the units then, we have got an area in centimetres squared, but a pressure in newtons per metre squared. Rather than attempting to change the pressure from newtons per metre squared to newtons per centimetre squared, because that is going to be trickier, I'm going to convert my area from centimetre squared to metre squared so that my units are consistent. At the moment they don't match, therefore we need to make them consistent. To change centimetre squared into metre squared then, I need to divide by 100 squared, so I'm dividing by 100 and then 100 again, or dividing by 10,000. So 900 centimetres squared is the same as 0.09 metres squared. Now I have my pressure in newton per metre squared and my area in metres squared. These units are now consistent. I can work out my force by doing force is equal to pressure multiplied by area. The pressure is 50 newtons per metre squared. The area is 0.09 metres squared. So the force is 4.5 newtons. As with all maths, just make sure that you are confident with your answer. It seems reasonable and logical. It is also recommended to, like I've done, highlight the units, then you can see whether you're going to have to do any converting or not. Pause the video to copy the notes, to check your understanding and to try the questions from I'm Ready for Anything. Remember to mark your work and reflect on your confidence.